All right, welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And today, we are going to be talking about how to stay safe online in the age of AI.
Yeah.
And what better way to do that than to use an English learning podcast as source material.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like a lot of people might be thinking,
Right.
you know, how they're going to help me stay safe online.
Yeah.
But, you know, we've actually had some experience in the past going over English learning podcasts.
Right.
And I have to say, the way that they explain things, it's incredibly clear, and it's actually pretty good for people who might not be, you know, super techie. So, you know, we can learn some online security tips.
Absolutely.
You know, maybe pick up some new vocabulary.
For sure.
So, you know, the one thing that really surprised me about this episode is just how sophisticated the scams are getting.
They're getting really good.
It's not just about the Nigerian prince emails anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Like, these guys are using AI and really sophisticated tactics to, like, mimic communications that you would normally think are legitimate, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're getting so good at it that it's hard to even tell the difference between a real email and a fake one.
Yeah, it's really scary.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a recent case that I read about where a group of scammers actually managed to create a near-perfect replica of a popular bank's website.
Oh, wow.
They were actually using AI to personalize phishing emails to make them seem even more real.
That's wild.
Yeah. And they managed to steal millions of dollars before they were finally caught.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's scary.
And it's funny because, you know, the English learning podcast that we're looking at, they actually mentioned something similar to this, right?
Yeah. They talked about the classic bank email scam where, you know, they'll send you an email that looks like it's from your bank. And they'll say that there's been some suspicious activity. Or you need to update your account information, and they'll include a link that takes you to a fake website that looks just like your bank's website.
Right. And, you know, it's funny because I think we all kind of have a tendency to skim emails, especially when it's something that looks official, you know?
Absolutely.
Like, oh, this is from my bank.
Yeah.
I don't need to really read this carefully.
Right.
And that's what the scammers are banking on.
Right.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's really scary. So how do we actually become more discerning online?
Well, I think the first thing is just to be skeptical. You know, don't just click on any link that you see in an email or on a website. Take a moment to actually examine the source.
Okay.
So, like, hover over links to see the actual URL.
Right.
Double check the sender's email address. And look for any inconsistencies in the language or the design.
Okay, so it's like being a detective.
Right, exactly. You got to be looking for clues.
Right.
You know, is this email really from who it says it's from? Is this website really the legitimate website?
Yeah.
You know, it's really important to take that extra step and just verify everything.
Yeah, and speaking of red flags, the podcast also talked about the use of, like, urgent language. You know, like, your account's been compromised.
Right, exactly.
You know, limited time offer. Click here before it's too late. I feel like. I used to fall for that kind of stuff all the time.
It's easy to do. You know, they really prey on our fear and our impulsivity. You know, they want us to act without thinking.
Yeah.
So anytime you see that sense of urgency, take a step back, breathe, assess the situation rationally.
Deep breaths. Got it. But, you know, even if we manage to dodge those phishing attempts.
What about the passwords? I mean, it feels like the advice is always to have these super complex, unique passwords.
Yeah. For every single account.
Right.
It feels impossible to keep track of.
It is. Yeah, it's really hard.
So what do we do?
Well, that's where password managers come in.
Oh.
Yeah. So a password manager is basically like a digital vault that stores all of your passwords and encrypts them.
Okay.
So you only have to remember one master password to unlock the vault.
Okay, so it's like a key to all your other keys.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different password managers out there. Some are free, some are paid.
Okay.
But they all basically do the same thing.
Okay, password managers. That's a good idea. I've been meaning to look into those. What about two-factor authentication?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I'm constantly getting these verification codes.
Yeah.
Are they really that effective?
They are. They really are.
Okay.
It's basically like adding an extra lock to your door.
Okay.
So even if someone steals your key, they can't get in without that second layer of security. So, it might be a little bit annoying
Yeah.
to have to enter a code every time you log in.
Right.
But it's really worth it for the added security.
Okay. So it's like building a security system.
Exactly. For your online life.
Right.
You've got your strong passwords.
Uh-huh.
You've got your two-factor authentication.
Okay.
You're being skeptical. You're not clicking on everything you see.
Right.
What else should we have in our arsenal?
Well, what about those annoying software updates
Oh, yeah.
that we all tend to ignore?
Yeah, those are important.
Yeah. Why are those important?
Well, because they're constantly finding new vulnerabilities in software. And the scammers are always trying to exploit those vulnerabilities.
So it's kind of like making sure that your digital fortress.
Exactly. Has the latest security upgrades.
Right. Okay. So it's about staying informed,
Yeah.
being proactive,
Uh-huh.
and treating our online presence with the same care that
Yeah.
we would treat our physical belongings.
Absolutely. It's a constant process of learning and adapting,
Okay.
which makes this deep dive all the more valuable. So I think the most important thing to remember here is that education is power.
Okay.
The more we understand about the tactics that scammers use, the better equipped we are to protect ourselves.
Right.
So stay informed,
Okay.
stay vigilant,
Right.
and stay safe online.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us on this deep dive into online safety. Hopefully you not only learned some valuable tips, but also expanded your English vocabulary along the way.
Yeah.
And before you go, here's a thought to ponder. What additional steps can you take to kind of personalize your online security strategy?
Right.
After all, the best defense is
Yeah.
a well-informed and vigilant one.
Absolutely.
So until next time, stay safe
Oh.
out there.